All right, folks, we are hanging out in a parking lot by the airport because this young lady is about to get on a flight home.
I am.
She's just finished up. Becca Hess, by the way. Brand new single out, Stranded. Incredible song. You've just wrapped up on Ontario run of a radio tour. How'd it go?
You know what? It went awesome. I haven't had the opportunity to come out here as an artist before. I've come out to visit, and we did, I think, like 15 stations in the last few days, and everybody has been amazing. It has been so much fun, and I think it's really important as a BC artist to be able to come all the way out here and kind of put a face to the name, and hopefully, impress them a little bit, and ultimately, potentially get on the stations out here.
So let's talk about that, because as an independent artist, it becomes a bit more difficult sometimes to get that airplay. What is it with these radio tours that you say you hope to get on? What's the one catch that I think you're looking for?
I think more than anything is just finding that personal connection to, attribute to the product that you already have, that you obviously believe in, and you're like, I have a great single, it's part of a great record, and I can't wait. But I mean, these guys get inundated with submissions and hey, you got to play this, and I'm a local, and I'm a that. And at the end of the day, if they know somebody, if they've had that personal connection with them, they can go, yeah, you know what, I heard her story firsthand. She's working really hard. She's been out here. She's got all this. I didn't know that about her. Next time they see my song, and if it's Stranded or if it's the next single, they're gonna go, yeah, okay, I like Becca, she was good, I want to support her, which is really, really important, because I could just come out here and be like the absolute worst. I could be terrible live, I could just be an absolute brat, and they're like, I don't want to do it. So it's important to come out and have the 360 look as an artist. That's not just the record, it's how are you live, how are your interviews, what do you like off camera, on camera, doesn't matter. It's all part of it.
Totally. So it's that selling that package, I guess.
Definitely.
Making sure that they also understand. Let's talk a bit about the single Stranded.
Yes.
You and I talked a bit before.
Yeah.
And this is kind of your first time recording a song that you did not write.
Yeah, it is the first. There's a couple on the record that I didn't write, and this is the first project I've ever put out, the first single I've ever put out that I didn't write. So it's actually a Brian White, Lindsay Lee, and Mike Sprinkle song, a couple of course, amazing artists and writers out of Nashville. And when we were looking for new songs for the album, just to kind of round it out, to give it, just to elevate it to that next level. Obviously, I think I'm a phenomenal writer, but there's always going to be that song where you go, you know what, I never would have thought of that. And Stranded is one of those for me where I heard it and I just thought, yeah, that's the single. That's so it. So I'm really lucky to be able to take on and hopefully do them proud of this incredible song that I think is going to be perfect for summer and is such a fun radio hit single and hopefully a hit.
You hit the nail on the head there. It is such a great song that summer theme. Was that obviously a thought when you were time for releasing it? It's like this wasn't a November release type deal.
No, you know what? It's all part of the planning, and I think come springtime, everything's starting to bloom, and we're like, oh, I'm almost burnt because I've been outside for 6 minutes. So it's important to have some really fun elements to the radio as well, and for me, this was. This is that really happy love song that I haven't always written in that vein. I've kind of done the emotional knapsack, you need to be home alone and bawling your face off. That's kind of more my thing. Although we've written all over the place, and then Mountain Child, which was the last single, is, a bit more rockin' kind of, it's a different storyline than what this is. So I think it really rounds out the record. And as the single, it was like a clear cut for, hey, it's time to put on some shorts, it's time to go to the beach, and it's time to fall in summer love.
But it is, I don't know, there's just something about the hook, the whole melody, everything that
gets
that goes,
in you.
It does. It seeps in you, and you're just like, oh no, you just start singing it.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And that happened to me too, because we were listening. I was working with Tom and Carly McKillop, who I've worked with before, growing up with that whole family, and they're phenomenal. And Mama McKillop, Linda, she was showing some songs to me and going, okay, where do we start? What do you need to add to what you already have to kind of elevate it? And I had listened to tons of music, and this song, no matter where I went, I'd be grocery shopping, what am I singing? I'm like, oh my God, it's Stranded. And I think that's just an absolute crown of a fantastic song, is when it gets stuck in your head and you're not like, oh my God, I'm still singing this song.
Yes.
It's like, oh yeah, I like this.
I like this
so
one.
it's one, whether you've heard it one time or 100 times, I think it really kind of gets in your blood, which is an amazing quality.
It totally does. So the last question I have, was the thought process for this being the single also that in a live show that this is just a little different than everything else you've done?
Yeah, I mean, as an artist, you have to think about all of that. And first of all, you're like, can I sing this live? Like, am I just too proud of my? Do I have too much faith in myself? But no, we had such a good time with it in the studio, and I had such incredible players on it, like Canada's finest. Honestly, it was unbelievable. And so then when I get to go play it live, it really is like that. It is the single when I'm on stage too, which is so fun. And, in classic, 80s, late 80s, early 90s baby fashion, I brought back the key change because I just think it's the true sign of that powerhouse, so good.
You get it, right?
Yeah, it's fun. And for people who, they might not realize it right away, but they're like, man, this last chorus really amps. It's because of the key change. And it's funny because most people hear that and they're like, well, that's kind of a little dated, you know? But I think Carly and Tom did such a phenomenal job of it, and we really had fun with it. So when we get to that live, it's like, oh, and one more thing, bam! It's sweet. It's my favorite.
It is so good. All right, guys. Becca Hess is her name. Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get good music. And remember, if you don't like good music, we don't like you. Thanks.